Hi guys, and welcome to Organizational Psychology, the first lecture that I'm going to video for you guys. This starts the class out, and basically what I got to do is I got to sell the ideas that we're going to present throughout this semester. A lot of these ideas are contrary to what many people in organizations or business subscribe to. And that's okay, because we can allow for difference of opinion and different ideas. Ultimately, what's important is to what extent are these ideas empirically supported, and we can see evidence of that throughout. There's an irony for organizational psychology. I wanted to become an organizational psychologist. I participated in a total quality transformation at the paper mills, and we'll discuss that throughout the course, what I learned in doing that. I'm a Deming disciple, and we'll talk about what that means. When it came time for me to go to graduate school, I was working with Dr. Ditto at University of California, Irvine, where I was finishing up my undergrad. And Dr. Ditto said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I'd actually like to work in small group decision making." And he said, "Okay." So we picked out 7 organizational psychology programs and 7 social psychology programs. I got accepted to none of the organizational psych programs, all of the social psych programs. So that's how I ended up at Ohio State in the social psychology department. And when Dr. Billings, the last of the IO psychologists, industrial organizational psychologists at Ohio State, retired, that was it. There was going to be no more IO program at Ohio State, so that's circa 2001, 2002. In 2004, they asked if I'd teach organizational psychology, and I jumped on it because I love it, and we're going to see why. But today, the ground before us, we got to talk a little history, right? But more than anything, people at the center of success. We're going to define successful management potential as described through various subfacets of organizational psychology. And we're going to talk a definition of organizational behavior, the history of organizational behavior. I see a cat conflict that's about to take place. I'm up in their turf. This is the Caddock studio here. I built this room. This was a bare attic when we moved into this house, so I've turned it into a master bedroom, bathroom suite. Penelope! They're being bad. They're picking on Lucy. I don't know why. And we're going to talk about organizational behavior now, and we're going to talk about the future of organizational behavior. So we're going to begin with a case study. Excuse me for just a minute. I want to sort this out here. We're going to begin with this case study. Get down, Annika. I know. Super professional, huh, guys? I'm hoping you'll cut me some slack on this. We got all kinds of challenges ahead of us, right? We're working at home. So this is my buddy Will Maddox, and Will and I came to graduate school at the same time. So note that a graduate school cohort is the entry date rather than the graduation date, because we all graduate at different times. Maddox went on to go from Ohio State social psychology. He got a postdoc up at Northwestern, at the Kellogg Business School, and from there. Annika, that is not appropriate. Leave Lucy alone. All right. Sorry. So, Maddox went to Kellogg Business School to do his postdoc, and then, once he finished his postdoc and he was publishing pretty big time, he got to go to INSEAD. That is the International Business School in Paris, France, Fontainebleau, 40 kilometers south, and there's a campus in Singapore as well. So, I went and visited Maddox in France, and his wife Takako and their son Dylan, and he was getting ready to teach organizational behavior, organizational psychology at INSEAD, and he was kind of sweating it. He hadn't taught it before, and I've been teaching a little bit at Ohio State. So we got together, and he said, "I really want to come from the point of view of people-centered organizations." So I said, "Dude, I'm down with you. That's exactly where I'm at." And we said, but you got to sell it. You got to sell it to these folks, especially the students you're going to be teaching, right? Are from wealthy backgrounds all over the world, are going to go to INSEAD, and you got to sit there and you got to say, hey, it ain't money, it's people that matter. And that's going to be a tough sell for your audience, tougher sell for some audiences than others. So how do you sell an idea to people? Well, you use some form of evidence, hopefully. And what we did is we put together, while I was there, we put together a case study. So we both used it, which was cool to work together on this, for us to collaborate again. And we discussed the tale of two airlines. And what we wanted to do is we pitted U.S. Airways against Southwest Airlines, and we tell this story. And we tell the story of how Southwest Airlines has always been people-centered. They always put their people first in hiring, in performance evaluation. That was their whole way of becoming who they became. So we're going to set it up as Southwest is people-centered, right? U.S. Airways is profit-centered, and then we're going to show all the successes of Southwest, and we're going to show all the failures of U.S. Airways, and from that we sell the idea initially to start the course that people-centered is better than profit-centered. So I'm not going to go through the entire case study. You guys got it here, and you'll be able to look at it on your own. I don't want to devote the time in this to do that. So the people culture of Southwest, though, let's get on that. It's intertwined with Southwest's innovative model, right? It's been consistent emphasis on the value of people, customers, employees. From the beginning, its operations, Southwest urged employees to have fun doing their work, to make experience of flying Southwest not only convenient but enjoyable, right? Okay. Now, when we look at this idea of profit and money, a lot of people are motivated by money. They're very extrinsically motivated. And if you want to learn more about that, I'd love to see in the springtime in Psychology of Motivation. I'm a shameless self-promoter. I'm always talking about the other classes I teach. It's good business for the department. It's good business for me ensuring my job, right? But, you know, I got a chance to take a study abroad trip. One of our faculty members was unable to do it at the last minute, so they asked me if I would do study abroad 2 weeks in Germany, in Belgium, and London with a group of 17 Buckeyes, and man, I jumped on that opportunity like nobody's business. On the way there, I was on United Airlines. I hate United Airlines. I hate flying it, right? And consider that if we complain and accept compensation for being a squeaking wheel, there are two victims. The employee forced to contrition. So, you know, none of my stuff worked. You know, I'm flying to Europe. The entertainment system doesn't work. The seat isn't working properly. Nothing works. They moved me to another seat when I complain, right, which was a bulkhead, which I didn't want, and that entertainment shit doesn't work. So I moved back to the other seat, and they say, we're so sorry, and I'm whining and bitching, right? And they offer me, you know, $200 credit and all this other stuff, and it's like, look, you know, I don't get to go anywhere that often, and this is kind of destroying my experience, so the compensation is meaningless. Imagine, though, from a human point of view, here is this poor purser. She was the head of everything. This is going crazy. Lucy, come on. She turned on the music. I can't believe this. This is ultimately crazy here. So this poor purser has to come and soothe me and listen to my crap and me bitching at her, right? And it's bad for me. It's bad for her. It's bad for the company. Why not just do it right in the first time? And that's a lot about what this course is going to be about. So you guys can go ahead and move through here. I'm not going to do these, right? And you keep going. You read this on your own to the extent you're interested. All right, but this was the piece of work that we put together. All right, so how does this happen? Well, management is ultimately responsible for the customer experience, and that's what I want to get back to. And management is responsible for the system, and this is where we're going to invoke Deming as well. So what is that management defined? It's the process of working through and working with others to achieve organizational outcomes. So, and we're going to tack onto that in an efficient and ethical manner, which seems to be lacking, right, in business and politics in the year 2020. And I better declare my bias. I'm kind of a systems thinker. At the paper mill, I was got the title, as many of us did, a process guy, which was about the best compliment you can have, and we understood that processes were responsible for outcomes. So if we continuously improve processes, we'll continuously improve outcomes, and we were very skilled in the measurement to demonstrate that it was occurring. And through this is in an ethical manner. So managers become experts in this. So the cycle of continuous improvement then, always making it better, was our goal, right? And so people are skilled, they're motivated, they can adapt to change, they can handle stress. So we put people first in this equation because it's people that make this shit happen, right? And then the people are the ones who generate the products. And what we're looking for is satisfied customers because of better quality goods and services. That is, that we're always improving what we do, whether it's service or product. And that way we forever ensure an increasing loyal customer base. Now, it's the processes behind this that make it happen. So we want to develop processes that are faster, more flexible, they're leaner, ethical organizational processes. Organizational learning, right, becomes at the core of these ideas. Right? And organizational learning, then, organizations become responsible for educating their people. Right? And then productivity, and here is a very simple formula, right? As quality goes up, costs go down. So I know a lot of people think, we can't afford to put out a high quality product because we got to keep costs. No. The very simple, straightforward, as you increase quality, costs go down, right? Now, people might want you to think otherwise, but it's not the case, right? If you don't have time to do it right the first time, when are you going to have time to fix it, right? And there's nothing more expensive to an organization than producing a defect, because a defect represents absolute waste. So, evolution of 21st century managers then. Let's compare past management philosophy to future management philosophy. Past managers were order givers. They were privileged, elite, manipulator, controller, right? They were in charge of everything. Right? Facilitators, that's the future manager. They're a team member. They're a teacher. They're an advocate. They're a sponsor, a coach. Not a dictator, but one that is in the business of improving their people continually through education. Okay? Learning and knowledge, well, past managers, periodic learning, they usually were very narrow specialists. Now, for the future manager, right, we're talking about continuous lifelong learning, never giving up on it. They're a generalist because they can see the big picture, and they might then be very good in multiple specialties. Compensation criteria, time, effort, and rank. So when we're determining how much a person will make, how long have they been with the company? Seniority, right? To what extent do they provide effort? What is their rank? And that's how we'll pay people. Future managers are about skills and results. You learn to do something new, you're worth more to the company, right? You produce results that are verifiable, demonstrable, then good deal. Primary source of influence, formal authority, because I said so. Now, when I got to the paper mill in Oregon, I was looking for work because I hated working in construction, which is what I was doing at the time. Construction was just filled with racists, and I couldn't put up with it on a day-to-day basis. So I got the hell out of there, went to the paper mill. They had an advertisement in the paper. They said, we need forklift drivers. So I went as a forklift driver because I knew how to drive a forklift from when I used to work in the lumber mill and on the construction site, right? And it was a union job, so I was a union worker. And the union guys told me, you can argue with a boss, but if a boss ever says to you, work as directed, what that meant is the conversation is now over and you must do as they said, period. Right? So people would operate on formal authority, and that's very historic. Because I said so, because I'm the boss, right? Remember when your parents pull that shit on you? Because I said so, because I'm the mommy, because I'm the daddy, and were you sold at that point in time? You're like, maybe not so much. You might comply, but you didn't learn from it. Now, primary source of influence of the future manager is knowledge. Look, technical expertise, interpersonal expertise. Let me help you with that. What can we do to bring you up to speed? How can we improve your performance, right? View of people, Old school managers, man, people are just a pain in the ass, right? If you're a new school manager, a future manager, hey, people are my resource and I need to invest heavily. A few more, okay? So, primary communication pattern, vertical, downward for managers, right? Right. Well, future managers are multi-directional and they like to get people from different levels and different departments and get the opinion of many of them. Decision-making style, old school managers, limited input, individual decision, right? Broad-based for future managers, input and joint decisions, building teams, often advice teams to make decisions. Ethical considerations, ethics, that's an afterthought. Let's see what we can get away with. Or, well, it may not be ethical, but at least it's legal. Or, no one will be able to detect, so let's go ahead and do it anyway. And that's old school. And I'm sure many of us have had enough of that shit at this point in 2020, right? Future managers think in terms of ethics. It's a forethought. It's something they integrate into all the decisions they make as a natural manner of doing business. Nature of interpersonal relationships for past managers, competitive, win-lose. They view the world as a zero-sum game. They win, the others lose. Cooperative point of view for future managers, that is, how do I create situations where everyone wins? And that requires creativity, expertise, but more than anything, it requires caring. Right? What do you think, Lexi? So, we often have cats in the lectures, so this is Lexi. This was my mom's cat. My mom passed away last November, and we told her we would keep Lexi. And Lexi's had to adjust. We got a lot of cats, and Lexi was always an only cat, so now she's one of many, a cast of thousands. But she's adapting quite well to it, so she's a sweet cat. A few more. Handling of power and key information. What do we know? Hoard and restrict access to information. Information is power. How many of you have heard that? And that would be the mantra of a past manager. Right? Future managers share and broaden access. And some companies go so far as to put like financials on whiteboards and allow employees to keep track of financials within their department, right? For everyone to see. Rather than keeping that stuff hoarded in a small handful of people. Approach to change. Past managers resist change. The old way was good enough, it always has been. Future managers facilitate change. They blow the lid off of shit and they embrace change. Okay? So, take a breath and let's get moving on here. Skills exhibited by an effective manager. Clarifies goals, objectives for everyone involved. Encourages participation, upward communication, open door policy, and suggestions. Hey, let me stop with that. How many of you watched the video? How many of you watched the Pat Kerrigan video, the Tom Peters Leadership Alliance video that's posted on Carmen? If you haven't watched it yet, please watch it. It's 18 minutes. It'll be some of the best 18 minutes you spend I think in school, when you watch what psychologist Pat Kerrigan did when she was asked to manage a General Motors parts plant in Michigan. And how many of you are psychology majors? I'll bet there's quite a few of you who are psychology majors. We have a tremendous amount to offer if people are willing to listen because we understand people. All right? So, encourages participation, upward communication, and suggestions. Plans and organizes for orderly workflow. Has technical administrative expertise to answer organizational related questions. Facilitates work through team building, coaching, support. Provides feedback honestly and constructively. We have a whole chapter on feedback especially. Okay? Keeps things moving by relying on schedules, deadlines, and helpful reminders. Note that I'm asking you for deadlines in many of your team level assignments. I'm asking you to actually put deadlines into the assignment. You'll see spaces in the assignment for deadlines for portions of the assignment. Controls details without being overbearing. So I'm going to try and give you assignment templates, but give you flexibility in doing the assignment, right? Applies regional pressure for goal accomplishment. Empowerment and delegates key duties to others, right? Well, maintaining goal clarity and commitment. So that's would be part of my job in this class, right? You do the assignments, but I got to kind of provide the impetus. Recognize good performance with rewards and positive reinforcement. Job well done. this kind of thing, right? Now, I want to introduce you to a business guru. It's been around since the 1980s. This is Tom Peters. And Tom Peters was, of course, made the videos that I showed you. That video that I've made available to you on the Leadership Alliance. I'll tell you something about that. I used that in my total quality training in the paper mills, those videos. Oh my God, that videotape, yes, it was a videotape when I purchased it, was $750. Yeah. So I've since digitized it. It's mine, and that's why I feel it's legit that I can show it to you, right? Because I did pay for it. Other sources is Tom Peters. He's written several books, so you can search him if you're interested. He's got some talks on YouTube, but most of his stuff, is copyrighted, so there's snippets, but not the full things like I showed you. Tom Peters said the 4 most important words that a manager can use, a leader in his parlance, is what do you think? And notice how that opens up the doors. You look at your employee, and the first thing you say is, what do you think? You can discuss from there, but what do you think? Now, I'm going to add my 4 favorite words to the end of this. That is, it's great to say, and I agree with Tom Peters, one of the best things you can say to a team or a person is, what do you think? But then, let's get hard-assed about it. And I'm going to say, how do you know? And the difference between what you think and how do you know, that difference then is your research potential, what you need to learn to be effective in that regard. So in all, what constitutes good, effective management? It's continuously evolving, right? It requires lifelong learning, willingness to adopt new behaviors, but that can be very scary because people become anxious when they move towards the unknown. All right, we're going to break here.